Greetings, citizens of the motherfucking YouTubes. LordClydeofOMAR here, coming at you loud and fucking proud, and all the other catchy little greetings. Now, it has come to my attention that some of my friends over at the network have made the acquaintance of this dude right here. Now, in my last video about the Mad Shangi, or as I like to call him, TheFaggShangi, I mentioned that he would most likely continue making videos about me, and indeed he has. I believe he has made a total of 6 videos that have been at least partially directed towards yours truly since he's come back. Of course, this is based purely on what I've been told, seeing as how I've only actually watched the 2 most recent. The rest I never really saw any reason to bother with. I mean, this guy pretty much tells me everything I need to know in his titles and descriptions, so why the hell would I waste my time watching Beavis and Butthead's fat Canadian gay love child sit there and spout off shit like, "Oh, that laughter's so fake, you look like you're about to cry, eh?" I mean, obviously the guy's full of shit, and you know, what am I gonna do, correct him? I think secular humanist has probably at this point come to recognize the asinine nature of doing so, seeing as how no matter what you say to him, TheFaggShangi will just sit there and continue to insist upon his own warped intuition. I mean, it's not like I really give a shit about any of the things he's saying about me. I mean, I thought I'd made this pretty clear with my last video, where instead of actually addressing his so-called points against me, I just pointed and laughed at his fail-tastic little mini loose change video and told him what a fucking retard he was, fully expecting a video response, and eventually I got one. 4 fucking months after the fact. It was a video called LordClydeofOMAR, the boy who cried because I pwned him, or something to that effect. And now, a video with the title like that really does nothing but further justify the approach taken in the very video it was responding to, because it just proves that this guy is so ridiculously full of himself that his ego literally won't allow him to accept and come to terms with the fact that I was fucking laughing at him. It's as if when he clicked on my video, his mind blocked out the actual video and replaced it with a completely different video to preserve his own psyche. So while everyone else saw this, listen to this. Clyde's a fucking bitch, Clyde's a fucking loser, Clyde's a fucking crybaby. Oh, by the way, did you know 9/11 was an inside job? Shangi saw something like this.
TJ, leave me alone, please.
The guy is completely detached from reality, ladies and gentlemen, and quite simply put, there is no argument to be had with a guy who watches a person literally laugh in his face and continue to insist that he pwn that person. Oh no, you do not argue with a person like that. You fucking publicly humiliate a person like that. That is essentially what I did with my last video to TheFaggShangi, which is why I said I wouldn't be making any more videos to him, but you know, I took a look at that video and thought, truth chart or not, this guy does so much more to make a complete ass of himself on a regular basis while remaining totally oblivious to it. I think I could do better, and that's exactly what I intend to do with this video, so I suggest y'all get comfy, because we are scorching the fucking earth with this one, bitches. So before I begin, I should probably explain to everyone just why I've decided to start referring to the Mad Shangi as the TheFaggShangi. And the reason is because I, for one, think it is very much within the realm of possibility that he is a deeply repressed gay man. For one, he definitely seems to have one hell of a man crush on me, considering how obsessed he's been ever since I started giving a little fucker the cold shoulder. I mean, first he makes a response video to me, one of his top priorities upon getting his internet back after 4 fucking months. And really, Patrick, what the hell took you so long anyway? I mean, I know you lost your home internet connection, but I also know that you did sign in periodically during those 4 months. So obviously you had some means of getting online. Why didn't you just record the video at home and take it to wherever you were signing in from? It's called a flash drive, you fucktard. They're not expensive. You know, I'll bet you must have spent every damn day of those 4 fucking months like Elmer Fudd going, "Oh, I'm gonna get that screwy wood, Clyde, oh!" More recently, however, this guy did his own little Q&A video where he actually titled it Long-Awaited Answers from Shangi and had some chick that he referred to as his question bitch read the questions. Yeah, sound familiar? I mean, if this guy doesn't have a homo crush on me, then you'd almost think he kind of wanted to be me in some fucked up way. Next thing you know, he'll start wearing metal t-shirts and videos, grow a goatee, put on a pair of round-rimmed sunglasses.
I was thinking, like, what would be easier? is if I just like got a knife, cut you open, and like got inside of you, and actually became you.
Hey, it's possible. However, I tend to lean more towards the former possibility given this little nugget of insight.
Well, it's true. I wouldn't touch your Gray's cock.
One thing I definitely know for sure, however, is that it must have really frustrated this guy to no end that he didn't get the negative response from me that he was looking for after his 4th fucking vid. Because after that, he went and tried to seek it elsewhere by making this little video defending Von Helton.
Don't you think you're being a little hard on Von Helton? If somebody came on my blog TV that was offering to show me pictures of their boobies, I'd be like, hell yeah, I don't give a fuck if she's 16.
So what did he do next? Well, he followed it up with a video called Feeding the Trolls, where he was on a Skype call going, oh look, they think I'm being serious, LOL. Yeah, this coming from the same motherfucker who got his fucking panties in a twist over me joking about someone pulling a Captain Awesome on Roske, and that type of thing is pretty typical of the TheFaggShangi. I mean, even the Von Helton thing wasn't enough for him. He clearly desires my attention more than anything, which is why he finally worked up the balls to post this comment on my latest video, which is on my backup channel. Let's face it, the maker of this vid hasn't even been with a woman, LOL. I know, right? Like, who hasn't gotten that comment a million fucking times? It is interesting, though, because I went and checked his activity stream and found that he had made this comment right here on Christy O'Misty's video talking about having the same shit done to him and implying that even he thinks that type of shit is fucking petty and stupid a mere hour before commenting on my video, and once again giving us all the insight we need about just what type of guy he really is. So just what type of guy is the TheFaggShangi? Well, simply put, he's basically your typical one-way-eyed, self-victimizing men's rights activist. Now, for those of you who don't know what a men's rights activist is, picture someone parroting the stand-up comedy routines of Bill Burr and attempting to pass them off as serious political and social commentary, and you'll get the basic gist of it. Now, there was a time when Patrick specialized in making men's rights activist-themed videos, but unfortunately, most of those have been lost because, as has recently been demonstrated, the TheFaggShangi can't hold a channel to save his fucking life. However, YouTube is far from the only place on the internet where Patrick has spouted off his fail-tastic brand of MRA rhetoric. There is one particular forum called antimisandry.com where Patrick just so happens to be a well-established member, a status he has achieved by embedding his videos and making posts such as this one. Here we can see Patrick bragging about a comment he made to a guy in the comments section of a Sun News article. The guy Roger that he was responding to writes, "Yep, there is no doubt that the same situation applied to different sexes will see a man get dealt with more severely compared to a woman. Now, do we want to list all of the areas of male privilege in the Western world? One idiotic judge is one idiotic judge. Let's not pretend like white guys in Canada are generally behind the 8 ball wherever you look. They're still beating and killing their wives at intolerable rates. I look forward to the day that the Sun publishes an editorial railing on that subject." To which Shangi responds, "Unsurprisingly, as soon as a man touches on an obvious truth as Mr. Adler has done in this column, morons like Mr. Roger come out to spew their feminist BS. Now, do we want to list the areas of male privilege in the Western world? Are you kidding me? Women are the most coddled group in North America. Everyone is always so concerned with women's rights, but no one gives a damn about men's rights. Women are just as guilty of domestic violence as men are, yet there are no shelters for men. Women kill their husbands and their children, yet they are treated less severely than their male counterparts. Women overall serve less time in prison than a man would for committing the same crimes." Well, you know, that's all fine and dandy, Patrick. Well, no, it actually isn't. But it is interesting, however, that you basically just went evil fucking Knievel right over that guy's actual points and started menstruating all over him with shit like, "There are no men's shelters because nobody cares about men, blah blah blah." Like that has anything to do with what the guy was talking about. I mean, men do indeed beat and murder their wives at rather high rates, like the man said, which is why the women's shelters got built in the first place. But you are correct, there are no men's shelters. But you know, I wonder, has anyone ever thought to start a men's shelter in his own house? Because that is, from what I understand, how the women's shelters got started before they started getting government funding and all that fun shit. And you've got your own place, don't you, Patrick? So why don't you start your own men's shelter? Sure, get all the deadbeat losers in your area to come stay with you. Because unless you actually intend to start or become involved with some kind of project like that, then honestly, you really have no business complaining about how nobody gives a shit about male victims of domestic violence, because you are obviously no exception. You say that women are just as guilty of domestic violence as men are, and while this is somewhat true in a kinda, sorta, not really kinda way, you go on to talk about it as though they were committing the same crimes, which is fucking retarded. There are many different kinds of domestic violence, Patty, and according to Statistics Canada, in your country, the overall ratio between male and female perpetrators of domestic abuse is about the same overall. However, this study that I'm looking at right here goes on to state the following on the very next page. Similar to previous GSS victimization cycles, females continue to report more serious forms of spousal violence than males. For example, in 2009, females who reported spousal violence were about 3 times more likely than males to report that they had been sexually assaulted, beaten, choked, or threatened with a gun or a knife by their partner or ex-partner in the previous 5 years. Now honestly, how could anyone consider the former statistic as anything politically relevant when it basically lumps strangling someone into the same category as throwing a fucking toothbrush? I mean, that sounds like something that you would argue. Oh, but it gets worse, folks. In this post right here, we see this motherfucker reposting a comment exchange with some guy on YouTube trying to explain to him the difference between the roles the sexes play in reproduction respectively, and he ends the segment with this bit right here. I also really love how abstinence is only a choice for men. Women are never told that if they don't want babies, they should close their legs. It's always men that have to keep it in their pants. Wow. Now that's powerful fail right there. I mean, haven't you ever noticed that in our society, promiscuous women tend to get called shit like sluts and whores? Meanwhile, guys who get laid a lot are referred to with the endearing term stud. Does that sound like being told to keep it in our pants? I mean, this is only one of the most well-recognized double standards in our culture, but of course, leave it to the fucking poster boy for MRA stupidity to just completely disregard it. So what are you gonna say in response to that? What are you gonna do? Call me a mangina?
Oh, I'm so scared.
You know, I've heard it said about you before that you have this habit of reposting conversations where you clearly look like a fucking idiot and claim that you are winning the argument. And after looking at this shit, boy, does that fucking bear out. And another thing I've noticed, both from watching my own comment exchanges with you and from watching you argue with others, is that people often end up repeatedly retreading over the same points that you either ignore or just plain fail to understand. Then when people begin to express frustration with this, you just pull out the butthurt card and declare victory. Patrick, I'm afraid there's a label for people who take that sort of approach. You are a textbook example of what is known as a fail troll. The thing that I just find infinitely hilarious about you, though, is the fact that you operate under this delusion that an approach taken by people who intentionally act like idiots for the purpose of wasting people's time makes you some badass champion of truth. Like, really, do you have any sense of yourself at all? I mean, let's take a look at this photo that you seem to love flashing around every opportunity you get. You wanna know why I use this photo as a means of mocking you? Just look at you. You look nervous as fucking hell. I can only imagine what you must have looked like when you walked up to introduce yourself to that chick.
Hello. My name's Philip.
This really does tend to raise a few eyebrows on all your videos and comments on YouTube, inflating yourself up as this uber macho notorious ladies man such as this one right here. Shanghai surprise, when a guy is having sex with a woman from behind and right before he's done he spits on her back so she thinks he's finished, and when she turns around he blows in her face. Surprise! I did the Shanghai surprise to my girlfriend once and she was not happy at all.
Now by she, do you mean he?
Seriously, Patrick, you make it way too easy for me.